welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us on a Saturday morning. It is always nice to see so many attendees here on our webinars to learn more about different educational options. Today we have Amit Tyagi, the Associate Director of Admissions and Financial Aid from the Indian School of Business, who's going to be speaking to us about their programs. And we're really excited because I think this is a great option for so many students and MBA aspirants right here in India. I just want to introduce myself. So I'm Kim Dixit. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the Red Pen. We are an education consulting company based in Mumbai, India for the past 9 years, actually, not 8. And it says 7 global locations, which means really we have our main office is in Mumbai. It always has been, and we have consultants located around the world. We not only help applicants who are interested in MBA, both in India and abroad, but we also help students and families make educational decisions at all levels of education. So as you can see, we offer early advising, undergraduate, postgraduate, MBA, and day and boarding school support. So today we are talking about the MBA application, and I think also it may be relevant to many students who are kind of deciding between the MBA and other postgraduate options. So we do have a lot of experience in service lines associated with postgraduate studies as well. Yeah, so that's us. We are professional. We hold professional memberships in different organizations, as you can see here at the bottom of the slide: NACAC, AGAC, IECA, IACAC. And so all of those acronyms really mean that we do try to keep up on the sort of the top of all professional organizations and stay abreast of best practices globally. So that's us. That's the Red Pen. Now, Amit, I will hand over the presentation to you and let you share with us some information about the Indian School of Business.
Thank you, Kim. So I'll just share my screen. So welcome everybody to the session, and thank you, Kim, for having me on this platform. I'll just take around 20 minutes to share my presentation, what I have about ISB, and that should answer most of your queries. And if there are any queries post this presentation, I'll also be happy to answer any of the queries that you have on the Indian School of Business. So ISB was established in the year 2001, and since we are less than 20 years old, and since the last 20 years, the journey what we have had from being a young B school to one of the world's best is what we call a journey of many firsts. So we have had a lot of achievements in terms of being the first B school in India to offer the one-year MBA program, a format so successful that it's now being offered by almost all top B schools in India. We're the first in India to offer the modular MBA programs. We're the first in South Asia to be accredited by AACSB. We are among the youngest B school to be ranked among the top 13 FT Global MBA rankings. So this journey of many firsts has been made possible by the commitment and of our founders and the vision of our founders and the faculty members over the years. Moving forward, I want to take you to the beginning of ISB, the origins of ISB. So when we were being set up, we did not want to reinvent the wheel, but wanted to bring the world's best MBA education to India. And that's when we chose Kellogg and Wharton to be a founding associate B schools. And they helped us with the curriculum and systems to build the ISB institution. So as we progressed in our journey, we collaborated with London Business School and MIT Sloan School of Management for their research focus. So we wanted to be recognized as among the best research B schools, and that's where we choose those 2 B schools to be our partners they are among the best research focused B schools in the world today. And as we progressed, we also partnered with the Fletcher School at the Tufts University for its unmatched expertise in law and legal environment, and that's where we get our strength in public policy from. So all these alliances which we have helped us in terms of getting the best in class faculty, best in class knowledge, curriculum, and have built up the institution and the brand over the last 20 odd years of our existence. And in the last 20 odd years, we have now been recognized by the world's best accreditation agencies as among the top B schools in the world. So we are now among the only 100 B schools in the world to have the Triple Crown accreditations. So we are accredited by the top 3 accreditation agencies in the world today: AAC, CSB, Equus, and EMBA. And this is something which is achieved by only we are the third B school in India and among the 100 overall in the world to have this particular Triple Crown accreditation. And we are also ranked 28th in FT MBA Global Rankings 2020. So what this does is this firmly establishes us as a B school of repute world over, and uh, and underlines the efforts which we have made over the years to build a world-class B school right here in India. Now, going forward, I want to talk about a couple of things which make ISB unique. First and foremost is world-class faculty. So we have at the moment 70 plus teaching and research faculty across our 2 campuses. They are the resident faculty of ISB. So they stay at Hyderabad and Mohali campuses and teach a contemporary curriculum. But apart from this, we also have a pool of 200 plus visiting faculty from top global B schools, what we call the portfolio faculty at ISB. So at ISB, the visiting faculty do not just come for one-off lecture, but they visit ISB for a complete term and teach a complete course at ISB. So by this, we are able to bring in top teaching talent to come and teach at ISB. And this ensures that we keep our curriculum contemporary, world class, and we are able to provide excellence in MBA teaching and management research. So our visiting faculty come not just from our partner schools, but from across the schools world over. So we have visiting faculty from Wharton, Kellogg, LBS, HKUST, Georgia Tech, MIT Sloan, and many more other B schools. So what some of the examples of the visiting faculty which visit ISB, I want to give you an example. So one of them is Mr. Edward Rogers. He is the Chief Knowledge Officer of NASA, and he takes a course at ISB. The course is called Managing Business Complexity. So imagine learning business complexity from somebody who deals with complexity in and out as a rocket scientist at NASA. The second is Mr. Krish Sundarmaniam, who is the Chief Economic Advisor to the Government of India. Imagine learning finance from somebody who advises Government of India on how to on the economic and finance policies. So these are the kind of faculty which we are able to bring because of a portfolio model of visiting faculty that we follow and get top teaching talent from across the world. I want to talk something also about our integrated learning curriculum. So at ISB, we just don't believe in classroom-based learning, but we believe in integrated learning in terms of a classroom-based learning, applied learning, learning from your peers, and learning from the external environment like events and competitions and from the various other stakeholders of ISB. So let me just elaborate on each of these points briefly. So in terms of classroom learning, we follow the case methodology, which is taught in almost all top schools today. We have 10 specializations to choose from for our students. 6 of them are function specialization, 4 of them are industry specializations. So in terms of function specializations, we have finance, marketing, operations, strategy, entrepreneurship, and public policy. In terms of industry specialization, we offer healthcare, infrastructure, manufacturing, and information technology. So we have 8 terms which are spread across 52 weeks. And in this 8 terms, for the first 3.5 terms, you take 14 core courses. And for the next 4.5 terms, you get to choose from 80 plus electives, and you have to complete minimum of 17 and maximum of 21 courses you can take as part of your elective courses in the last 4.5 terms. So this compares very, very favorably to any of the top 2-year MBA schools in India, where in terms of the number of courses or in terms of the electives offered to the students. In terms of applied learning, we have something called an experiential learning program, wherein this is nothing but an internship, wherein students along with the curriculum also are attached to a particular organization under an industry mentor and a faculty mentor, and they work on a live industry problem. So they work for 3.5 months. They visit the organizations on the weekend. They study the particular organization, the problem, come up with solutions, and 1 week is spent at that particular organization wherein they present their findings, present their recommendation, and help start the implementation process for the same. Another important component of applied learning at ISB is study treks. So under this, students get to spend 1 week at a particular organization or industry. And there are three variations of these treks. There's international trek, where students spend 1 week at international locations. A domestic trek, where students spend 1 week visiting organization at a domestic location. And the third is social sector trek, where students work with a PSU or an NGO and study that in detail. In this 1 week, students are expected to meet all the stakeholders of that particular organization, understand the various forces acting on that particular industry organization, and come up with a detailed report in the week process. So it's a kind of a compressed internship which we offer for 1 week for our students. The third component is plan an entrepreneurial venture. So for people who want to go for an entrepreneurship after their MBA, this is a perfect module which is offered by our Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. We have 2 incubation centers at ISB across 2 campuses, and students can take this course from those incubation centers. And after their MBA, they can apply to be part of those incubation centers, and we nurture them for 11 months. We give them a stipend for 11 months for them to build their own startup and then take it live post that particular period. The next component is peer learning, wherein we have 40 plus international exchanges opportunities with various universities abroad, where we have both inbound as well as outbound exchanges happening. Here, students start going for exchange programs from the 4th term onwards, from the term wherein the electives start, and they can also opt for electives in those universities where they have gone for as exchange students. And similarly, students who come from other universities can take courses at ISB. So what this ensures is that students get a lot of exposure to various cultures. They get to interact with various peers from different backgrounds. Plus, our own cohort, which is 880 plus strong, is very diverse, where where students get to meet people from different backgrounds and learn from them in the classroom, as well as outside the classrooms in terms of the case discussions. We have, as of now, 14 professional clubs and 10 social clubs. And in fact, any student, if he is interested in starting their own club and he finds 5 like-minded people, they can approach our student student engagement and learning team and start their own club. So a couple of years back, we had an army veteran who was a pilot, and he wanted to start a flying club at ISB. And that's how the flying club at ISB has been initiated. In terms of events, as part of ISB's ecosystem, you get a chance to participate in all the national and international events. We also conduct our own events at ISB, be it co-curricular or cultural events. So this is something I want to talk to you about in terms of the course structure for class of 2021. So we have made a lot of changes to our course structure in the light of the COVID situation, and also utilizing the various opportunities which this situation has provided us. So what we have done for the course of class of 2021, and which is going to stay for the corresponding subsequent years also, we have made the curriculum full 52-week long. So earlier our curriculum was 48 weeks long. We have increased the duration of the structure by 4 weeks. Now in those 4 weeks, they are spread across 8 terms. We have added a lot of various value-added components. First is the career prep week, wherein we have kept aside a separate week altogether for students to prepare for their placements. In this particular week, we organize a lot of workshops and sessions for students to ensure that they're prepared for the interviews which they face at the end of the 4th term. Here we have sessions from industry mentors, we have sessions from corporate leaders, we have sessions on resume building, we have sessions on interview skills, so on and so forth as part of this 1 week. We also have an ELP week now, wherein students who take the ELP projects, or in fact all the students who take ELP projects, spend 1 week at the companies at which they are doing the projects. And this also serves as a ground for recruiting those students. So people who complete their ELP successfully can also be absorbed by the organizations at which they are doing those projects. And at the end of the 6th term, we have study treks. 1 week is dedicated especially for the students to go and interact with industry stakeholders. And in May of next year, we close the program with the graduation day. Now, another important component which we have started this year is called the Digital Head Start module. So this is a digital platform where we offer a lot of value-added activities to our students. I want to elaborate on this a bit. So, Digital Head Start module consists of 4 components. The idea behind the module is to give students a head start, as is mentioned in the name. So, in this component, first component is academic component. So, we are going to teach 4 easy-paced core courses in a digital format on this, but on a specially customized digital platform which we have for this purpose. And this 4 easy-paced courses will be for credit and will count towards graduation requirement. The whole idea here is that the students who have 5 to 6 years of work experience and who have been away from academics for a while, they can ease into the rigors of academics at ISB by taking the 4 easy-paced courses. And when they join the campus component, they are already into the rigors of the academics at ISB. The second component of DHM is independent study projects. Here, every student at ISB has to undergo these projects, and these projects have a theme of nation building. So this year, the theme of the projects is Jumpstart India at ISB. So under this project, students are going to work on making suggestions to the government departments on how to kickstart Indian economy post the COVID-19 crisis. So every student in a group of 5 will work with an industry, the faculty mentor, and they'll do a 3-month-long project on giving recommendation for a particular department, let's say agriculture department or the road transport services, and so on and so forth, on how to kickstart economy post the COVID-19 lockdowns. So these projects are already in progress for the current class. The third component is leadership development. So under this component, what we do is we ensure that there are a lot of people who are at top positions across the globe, who are ISB alumni or who are a part of the ISB stakeholder, who are people who are part of the ISB board, who come they come and take sessions for the cohort on a digital platform. Since the whole sessions are part of the digital platform, people from all over the world can participate in the sessions and share the leadership insights with the class at ISB. So, and as part of this particular component, we have had people like Mr. Harish Manwani, who is the chairman of ISB board, people like Manish Gupta, who is the CT of Diageo Worldwide, have come and taken sessions for ISB students even before they have come on the campus. This ensures that students are part of the ISB ecosystem even before they join the campus module. And finally, the fourth component is the co-curricular activities. So under this component, what we have done is we have initiated the co-curricular activities like the club activities, learning events, even before the students come on the campus. So we have bonding sessions on the digital platform. We conduct elections for the various clubs and various positions on a digital platform. So the idea is that even before students come on the campus, they have bonded with each other, they know each other, and when they come to the campus, they have more time to make impact on the various activities which they plan to do as part of the various clubs and societies. Now, look at the diversity at ISB. So we have a 888 strong cohort which joins ISB every year, and these are people from various backgrounds. We have people from people who are mountaineers and adventurers, people who are artists and painters, people who are army officers, people who are a sports person, people who are from the aviation industry. So this different perspectives which these people bring helps the students not just in class discussions but also outside in terms of the campus life. And we have a very vibrant and thriving campus life both at our Hyderabad and Mohali campuses. On this note, I want to share a concept called uniformity in diversity. So at ISB, we have a concept called uniformity in diversity, wherein we ensure that we give a consistent academic experience and student life experience to our cohorts across both our campuses. So for example, if the gender diversity at Hyderabad is 62% males and 38% females, it will be same for the Mohali campus as well. So if you see the figures in black are the overall numbers for the cohort, and figures in green are for the Hyderabad campus, and in blue for the Mohali campus. Hyderabad campus. So if you look at any of these parameters, let's say test score. So if our highest test score, GMAT score last year was 710, 770, the least was 600 and the average was 710. It's same across Hyderabad and Mohali campuses. Same with GRE, if our highest score was 334, Greece was 311, and average was 327. It's similar across Mohali and Hyderabad campuses. In terms of work experience, our cohort last year had people who had a minimum of 2 years of work experience and a maximum of 20 years of work experience, while the average work experience was 4.3 years, and it was consistent across our Mohali and Hyderabad campuses. So this is the concept which we rigorously follow in terms of giving the same experience to our cohorts either at Mohali or Hyderabad. So you have an option of selecting which campus you want to join, but the final decision on the campus allocation rests with the admission committee, who keep in mind the various factors while deciding which campus to allot to a particular student. So I want to show a small video which talks about, which shows the campus life at ISB. So as I said, and we saw in the video, we have one school but two campuses. So facilities across both the campuses are similar. We have inter-campus exchange in terms of people from Mohali coming for a term to Hyderabad and vice versa. We have a lot of lectures which take place via telepresence, and we have integrated admissions and placements. So in terms of admissions, you don't apply to a Mohali campus or you don't apply to a Hyderabad campus, but you apply to ISB. And similarly for placements, recruiters don't know whether you're from a Hyderabad campus or a Mohali campus. You are just an ISB student for them. Let's look at a slide on our global alumni network. So although we are a very young B school, we're just 19 years old, but we still have a formidable alumni network now. We have more than 11,500 plus alumni across our PGP, PGP Max, PGP MFAB, PGP Pro, and FPM programs. And 90% of this number is from the PGP program at ISB. Almost 80% of our alumni are based across in various cities in India. Around 21% are in the rest of the world. Our alumni is now spread across 60 plus countries and 400 plus cities. And we have 550 plus alumni members as part of CXO roles, and another 600 members who are heading their own businesses or family businesses or their own startups. And we have 14 chapters at alumni chapters, 9 are at domestic locations and 5 international locations. And we have around 11 special interest groups. As part of the special interest groups, alumni organize a lot of events and a lot of networking sessions among themselves as part of the various interest groups which they have. So this is something which ensures that, as part of this network, people get the best opportunities for career advancement and in terms of various activities for their particular businesses. Look at our placement statistics. So at ISB, the PGP program at ISB is known for providing quantum shifts in career to the candidates. So if you look at this particular figure on the right hand side, 79% of a cohort last year, that is class of 2020, which had 84 students, were able to make a function shift. For example, moving on from sales to finance, 70.5% of a cohort was able to make an industry shift. For example, moving on from, let's say, mining industry to banking, and 65.28% of the cohort experienced both a functional and industry shift. So in terms of salary growth, we are ranked fourth globally by FT global rankings in terms of average incoming outgoing salary versus our average incoming salary. And we saw 188% increase in that for our cohorts for the last couple of years. And we were able to generate 1504 offers to for our 884 students who were part of the cohort last year. Some of our indicative recruiters who recruit from ISB every year. So at ISB, we're not just a consulting or a banking focused campus, but we get organizations to recruit from across industry verticals, be it media, consulting, e-com, FMG, the top companies across verticals come and recruit at ISB. The reason behind this is that we have our own strong placement team of 28 professionals. So we don't rely on students or faculty members to ensure placements, but we have a team of professionals who build relationship with various organizations across functions, across geographies, across regions, and ensure that our students get the best opportunities for placement at the ISB campus. Okay, so in terms of admissions, we have three modes of entry to the PGP program. The first is a normal mode of entry, wherein you require 2+ years of work experience and an undergrad degree. The second is an early entry option. So this is nothing but a deferred admission option for students who do not have 24 years of work experience. So for example, if you are not able to have, if you think you won't be, if you don't have 24 months of work experience by 31st of March, in the year in which you intend to join ISB, then you can still apply for ISB, be considered for an admission, and if we find you suitable, we'll make you an offer. But you can only join when you complete 24 months of work experience, full-time work experience. The third option is the Young Leaders Program. Under this particular option, this is open for people who are in their final years or pre-final years of graduation or post-graduation, and there should be no break between the graduation or post-graduation from the post-graduation stream. And they can apply to this Young Leaders Program, wherein we, after a selection process, we make them offers, and then they have a flexibility to gain 20 months of work experience in any industry, in any organization, and join us at ISB after those 20 months. So what this gives a lot of flexibility to young students who want to try different things. For example, there's a student in final year who is interested in teaching, but he does not want to take a risk with his career. So what can he do? Suppose he gets through the Young Leaders Program and is assured of getting into ISB after he gets a requisite experience. So after his graduation, he can opt for something like a Teach for India fellowship of 2 years, try it out his passion, and then after 2 years, he can come and join ISB and continue his career from there. So that's the kind of flexibility which we offer to students in the final year and pre-final year who can avail of this particular option. In terms of qualities which we look at your academic credentials, we look at your work experience, we look at your leadership quotient through your essays and recommendations, and look at your personal attributes like ambition, drive, learnability, interpersonal skills, so on and so forth in our selection process. So just want to give an application process overview. What are the essentials? You need to have a bachelor's degree. You need to have a work experience of 24 months to start studying at ISB. And we need a GMAT or a GRE score for you to for your application. You will need to apply online. We'll ask for the academic details, your employment details in the application. You will be required to write 2 essays in the application, and will require 1 recommendation from your seniors at work or your colleague at work. And in terms of essays, we look at the uniqueness of your thought process. We look at your maturity. We look at your articulation skills. And we also look at how you plan to utilize the PGP at ISB to further your career goals, whether you have a plan in place or why do you want to do a PGP at ISB. So in terms of timelines, applications are open now. You can go to our website, you can start filling the online application. The deadline for the round 1 application deadline is September 2020. And that's when we close the round 1 deadline. We will have a round 2 deadline closer to the, we'll announce a round 2 deadline closer to the end of the round 1. And we may or may not have a round 3 this year. So that's all I had to talk about in the formal part of my presentation. I'll be very happy to take your queries. But in case I'm not able to answer all your queries today, you can always reach out to us on the numbers given here, touch points given here through various channels, and we'll be happy to interact with you. In case you wish to start filling your application, there's a QR code right here. You can scan it and start your application from here itself. So I'll now stop sharing my screen and hand it over to Kim to ask the questions and answers, and try to answer them to the best of my ability.
Thank you so much, Amit. I think that was a really thorough and informative presentation, and I can see lots of questions coming in. So I think we'll just get started with our questions. I want to begin with some questions that we typically get from applicants. So I'm going to share my screen. And actually, before I do that, I'd like to just send a poll out to our audience so we have a good understanding of, where people are in this process and what their thought process is in this year. So if everyone can please engage in this poll, it would be really helpful. I'm going to set it up here now. Great, so I hope everybody can see this poll. And the first question is, what is your primary motivation for applying to business school? So then I think pick the primary motivation. I'm sure for many people there's more than one motivation. And then the second question is, are you applying to ISB or planning to apply to ISB and other Indian or international schools? And then I'm only applying to ISB, I'm applying to ISB and other Indian schools, or ISB and some international schools. So just trying to get a sense of whether our audience is a very, India only focused, or they're shifting their focus based on current situation. And then the last question we have is, are you interested in exploring other master's programs besides the MBA? Because I think a lot of people maybe have heard your presentation, Amit, and are like, oh, well, I don't have 2 years of work experience, but I really want to study further. So then, what can they do now? And what are the options? I think at ISB, there isn't anything really for them except for the kind of the early entry. But I think at the Red Pen, maybe we can help them discover some other possibilities in India and outside. So I just wanted to put this poll up here for a bit and see if we can get some information about that and have a great an assessment of our audience. Looks like we're seeing most people, primary motivator for business school is career progression. I think that makes sense. That's kind of logical. Upgrading skills and exposure to new industries and concepts are also popular answers. And acquiring business knowledge is another popular answer, which I think is always really important, because a lot of people, in undergraduate programs, they like to study things that are maybe a little bit more closer to their passions, or that they've kind of extended from high school years, but then now it's time to kind of gain the business skills and move into the professional workforce. So a lot of people are looking for business knowledge that maybe they didn't gain in undergraduate studies. So all of these situations are those that we can understand and have seen before. All right, it looks like we have a good percentage of our audience has voted, so I'm going to end the poll now, so we can move on to the questions. Yeah, so career progression seems to be the most popular reason for people to look at business school, which I think makes sense. And it's interesting, in terms of, where people are applying, it's an even split, an equal number are applying to ISB and only India, and equal number applying to ISB and international. So that's an interesting outcome. So great, thank you everyone for engaging with that. And as those points are relevant, I will bring them up throughout this question, sort of questions and answer session. So yeah, so for audience members, just wanted to say that we have some questions here that are sort of pre-arranged for Amit to answer, but please do, go to the Q&A box on your screen and post whatever questions you have after you've heard the presentations. Maybe it sparks some, query in your mind that you think we can get answered today. So we'd love to sort of share your questions with Amit. All right, Amit, I think you've talked a lot about the programs, and I think it's very clear, how robust the offerings are at ISB. And so I just wonder, when you think of a typical ISB student and who really thrives and what kind of students do well in your program, do you have some way to kind of describe that for us?
So that's the thing at ISB. We have a very diverse cohort. So there's no particular student, fit. We can't stereotype a particular ISB student, but we have a very diverse cohort which includes people from various different backgrounds. So over the years, we have had people from sports field, we had people from people who were in fashion designing, people who were in aviation industry, people who were air hostesses, who have come to ISB, who have thrived at ISB and got what they wanted. So people come to ISB for different reasons. There are people who want to enact a function change, people who are already working in, let's say, sales and want to move into finance, or there are people who want to already enact industry change. So ISB is something for everybody who comes to ISB. But what we in general look at is, we look at your ACADS, we look at your work experience, and we look at we look at ACADS, we look at your work experience, and we look at instances of leadership in your essays or in your work life. So that's the reason we take people with work experience, so that we can identify all those particular traits which we look at. But in terms of profiles, diversity, we welcome everybody as long as they know what they want to do in life.
Okay, great. I think we have some more questions about that coming in here. So I have been getting a lot of questions about the application and admissions process, so I will come to those. I think what I would like to know more about is, we have this session today, which is great, and a lot of people have learned a lot about your program, and maybe it's just piqued their interest and they want to know more. So what's the best way for applicants or for potential applicants to kind of get to know more? Are you offering virtual events? Do you have a way for them to connect with current students? What options are out there?
So we have various options for students to learn about ISB, interact with people on the ISB ecosystem. So one of the best ways is, on our website, we have two components. One is connect with the student, and another is connect with an alum. So there are these two options on our website. If you go and leave your details there, we'll connect you to a current student at ISB. And if you want to connect to an alum, we'll connect you to an alum at ISB. And you can interact with them to know firsthand about what the ISB experience is all about. Apart from that, we also are organizing a lot of sessions, info sessions, region-wise, city-wise, and we have sessions, we have already had sessions in Delhi, Mumbai, and we'll also be having a lot more sessions. And we also have something called a My PGP Story series, which happens every Saturday evening at 6 p.m., wherein we invite an alum who has had a very diverse experience pre and post ISB, and they share their experiences with the candidates. So today evening, we have Mr. Viren Raskina, who's a former captain of Indian hockey team, former Olympian, who is going to come and talk about his experiences. So there are a lot of such events which we have planned. The best way is to go to our website, register for those events, and be part of those sessions and interact with the respective alum. So we have all these opportunities made available on our website, and they can go and connect there.
Great.
In terms of on-campus experience, the students are the best ambassadors, and they can always get connected to a current student, and interact with them.
Great, thank you so much. And as you said, your own contact details are available on the slide, and people can directly connect with you to find out more about those programs if they're not able to figure out how to access them. Thank you. That's really helpful. So I have, like I said, I have a lot of questions here about the application process, ranging all the way from, how can you assess, just trying to find that question. How do you assess interpersonal skills based on the essay? So I guess that's one of the uses of the essay. And then also, things like, should I apply in round 1 or round 2? Is it easier? Do I qualify for early entry if I'm working with a family business? I mean, there's all these questions coming, so I will continue to kind of throw them in if you can answer them. But along those lines, what do you see are some mistakes that people make? Maybe applying too early, thinking that I'm the one with 2 years of work experience, ISB says 2 years of work experience, so I just applied, but actually that person would have been. So what are those common mistakes or common sort of misjudgments that students make in the application process?
So we review a lot of applications from students every year. And one mistake which I see again and again with a lot of candidates every year is in terms of the choice of the recommender. So we have something called a recommendation to be sent by one of the recommenders. And a lot of people make a lot of mistakes in choosing the correct recommender. So idea behind the recommendation is to judge the quality of your experience in your particular work situation. So somebody who knows you well in that particular work situation should be your ideal choice of the recommender, and not somebody who is a CEO of an organization. So a lot of times I see people, giving the name of the CEO as a recommender, where the CEO has not interacted with the concerned candidate much, and is not able to bring out those insights. The best thing would be to give your immediate supervisor or immediate supervisor who has seen you, who knows your strengths, who knows your weaknesses, and can bring them out in the recommendations. So that's one of the mistakes which I see people making a lot often, not choosing the recommender with care.
Mm. That's great. That's good to know. I think there's also a lot of questions about GMAT and GRE score, especially in the COVID situation. People seem to be asking, this year, would they be able to, apply without it, or apply with one score and then substitute it later with a better score? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes. So at ISB, GMAT and GRE is a very important component of selection process, but it is not the only component. We have 5 different components. We take GRE, GMAT scores, work experience, academic details, your essays, and your recommendations. So in terms of GRE and GMAT score, we are not going to waive them off this year, but what we can do is we can accept online GMAT scores, and we'll make sure that they're comparable with the other scores which students take them at test centers, submit to us. And also, if the students update their scores, they can send it to us, send us the updated scores, and we'll reconsider their applications. So in one academic cycle, students can apply only once, either in round 1 or round 2. But if the scores get changed, they can send the updated scores to us, and we'll consider them in the application.
Okay, and do you accept CAT scores? You do not?
No, we do not accept CAT scores. So
okay.
For now, it's only GRE and GMAT.
Okay, and are you looking at the sort of if people have taken the online versions of those tests, are you looking at those scores differently than the ones that are at centers?
Yes, we're accepting online scores. So students can go ahead and take online scores and submit them to us, and we'll ensure that they're comparable across the test centers or the online school, other tests which they take.
Okay, great. 1 second. Okay. All right. So you did speak about, the percentage of people who change industries or change functions, or and I really liked that graphic. I think it was very helpful to have that visual, because I think, you hear about all the things that people do after business school, but, seeing that really makes it clear that there is the majority of significant majority of people do have quite a lot of change post their MBA. But when it comes to the MBA goals that an applicant would need to articulate in their application, what are you guys really looking for? Are you looking for very specific goals? Like, I want to start my own fund in the following, in the impact investing space because of, NGO work I've done, plus I've worked in finance. And do you want the very specific trail, or is ISB sort of more okay with applicants who have a more open-ended goal? That I've worked in marketing, and after business school, I want to continue in a leadership role in a marketing firm. So what are you really looking for?
So we are looking at some level of understanding self-awareness in terms of the career aspirations of the candidate. So candidate must be aware of what his goals are. Let's say, if not immediate, at least 5 years down the line, of what does he intend to do? How does he intend to use the PGP at ISB in terms of furthering those goals? So that is something very important. So a lot of times we see candidates who only goal is to clear ISB. So that should not be the only goal of a candidate. The ISB is a PGP is a tool which will be used for furthering achieving a certain other goals. So what we want is that in terms of students answering their post MBA goals is they can be open-ended, but they should have some sort of a vision in terms of where they want to end up post the ISB PGP at ISB.